Good morning. Today's lesson is lesson 5-1 rates. Now, this is the beginning of the chapter on ratios and proportions, and we are adding, or we're not really adding sections, but what we're doing is we are taking some of the sections in your book and we're dividing them up. I'm dividing them up so that you don't have so much content in a section. It's just, I think it's better for you to learn, and it's just not so much information. So this first lesson is 5-1 rates, and this lesson is not, the notes here are not in your textbook. So you're going to have to pause probably a little bit more and copy the things that I want you to copy down. So be diligent of that, but you should be able to see the information, and if you struggle, see Mrs. Shaw. Okay, so the lesson is on rates, and the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that you know what that is. So a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units. That's a rate. Okay. We also have, so for example, you have 160 beats in 2 minutes. That would be a rate. You're comparing beats to minutes. The labels are different. Okay. You also have what's called a unit rate, and these are both terms that are reviewed from 6th grade, 6RP1 and 6RP2. So it shouldn't be all that much new to you. A unit rate is when the rate is simplified so that it has a denominator of 1 unit. That's called a unit rate. Okay? So you have a rate and a unit rate, and you can see here the denominator, if you simplify this, 160 beats over 2 minutes, that becomes 80 beats in 1 minute. Here's a table that just shows some real common rates in everyday life that you will see a lot. So you have, and these are probably somewhat familiar to you. You have miles per hour, that measures speed. You have miles per gallon, that measures your gas mileage. And then you have price per pound, and that's your unit price. Okay, these three are probably the most common rates that you're going to use in daily life. Okay, so let's get to what you are going to have to accomplish today in this chapter, or in this lesson. This first example says that Adrienne parked 24 miles in 4 hours. I can't even speak this morning. Biked 24 miles in 4 hours. If she biked at a constant speed, this phrase, constant speed, is important because that means that you're averaging things out. So that means that you're going to be going along at the exact same speed, not faster and then slower and then faster and slower. It means that you're going at a constant rate. Okay? So if she biked 24 miles in 4 hours, how much did she bike in 1 hour? So the first thing I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to set up your rate so I can make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay? Then you're going to simplify that rate into your unit rate. Okay? So this is what I essentially would like to see is, let me get to my pen here, is on your paper is I would want to see the 24, and you must label it because you need to attend to that precision, and we need to know what your two labels are. Over 4 hours, I'm not gonna expect you to show this divided by 4, but what I do expect is then to see the simplified unit rate. 6 miles over 1 hour. Okay, that's what I would want to see. All right? Okay, so I would like you to pause your computer, and I would like you to do A and B for me, please. Do A and B. Okay, so A is oops, I have my eraser on yet, is $300. That's your label, over 6 hours. Okay, $300 over 6 hours. You need to simplify that, and that then becomes 50, because if you divide both by 6, you'll end up with $50. Got to put that label there, in 1 hour. Okay, that's what I would expect to see. Your second one, B, is 220 miles over 8 gallons. Now, I need to make this a unit rate, a rate of 1. So I have to divide both by 8 to make this a 1, because the only way to get this 8 to be a 1 is to divide it by 8. So it becomes 1 gallon. And then if you divide 220 by 8, you end up with an answer of 27.5. Now, you are going to round, and it tells you to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. You can, because this is a rate. It's not a fraction. It's a ratio. So you can use a decimal. You can have decimals on either well, really only in this case, because we're doing unit rates, really on in your numerator and your top number. Okay? Okay. The next type of problem is really kind of the same thing. So this time it's a word problem. So you find the unit price if it costs $2 for 8 juice boxes. So again, they set up their rate. This is what I would expect, $2 over 8 boxes. Then you divide by 8 because you need to make that 8 a 1, and you end up with 25 cents per 1 box, making sure that you label. Okay? So C then asks you to find the unit price if a 4-pack of mixed fruit sells for $2.12. So I want you to pause your computer and do that one. Okay, so that's going to be $2.12 over 4 boxes, right? Because there's 4 packs or 4, well, I shouldn't say, actually, this isn't really a box because we're not talking about juice. This is more of a pack, 4-pack. Okay, now we're going to divide both by 4. So that then becomes 1 pack. And if I take $2.12 and divide that by 4, I end up with 53 cents per pack. Now, it's really important whenever you talk about money, money must go to the hundredths place. Oops, I should have put a 2 there. Now, why is that? Because the hundredths place is your, right here, is your cent. So you need to go that, you can keep it a solid dollar, but if you're going change, you couldn't put like 2.1 and leave it blank. You would need to put a 0 in for that empty space, or it's going to be wrong. You're going to lose some points because that's not correct. That's not numerically correct when we're talking about our money system. So you need to round to the hundredths or to the nearest cent. Okay, part 3 then. Now you're doing some comparison shopping. So you're going to compare here. They compared dog food. The prices of 3 bags of dog food are given in the table. Which side bag has the lowest price per pound rounded to the nearest cent? So you have a 40-pound bag, a 20-pound bag, and an 8-pound bag, and they cost $49, $23.44, and $9.88 each. And you have to find your rate. Now you're going to round these to the nearest cent again. So they took $49 over 40, $49 over 40 pounds. That gave you $1.23 per pound. Now notice we're writing these a little bit differently. These are becoming a unit rate where we're using that word per. Okay? We're using that word per. All right? So you're comparing them. And then when you're talking about price, whatever one has your lowest price, but notice we're going to the nearest cent. Whatever one has your lowest price is your answer. So the 20-pound bag sells for the lowest price per pound. Okay, so for D, I think I want to do D together. So you should know what you're doing because you're going to have to do this on your assignment. Tito wants to buy some peanut butter to donate to the local food pantry. Tito wants to buy as much peanut butter as possible. Which brand should he buy? So the Nutty brand is 12 ounces for $2.19. So that's $2.19 divided by 12. And that's what I want to see for your work. So I know what you're dividing, okay? And then if you do that, 219 divided by 12, you get an answer of 0.18 rounded, so 18 cents. Okay? And then you have to label that. So that's 18 cents per ounce. Now, you have to be careful because they're putting the ounces first and the dollars second, but if you look back at that chart at the very first thing that we talked about, common ones, it's not ounces per dollar, it's dollars per ounce. Okay? So grandma's is 18 ounces for $2.79. So $2.79 divided by 18. And $2.79 divided by 18 is 16 cents, about. It rounds because it's 0.155, so that rounds to 16 cents per ounce. Okay, then you have B's, which is $4.69 divided by 28. So if you take $4.69 and divide that by 28, you end up with an answer of 16.75, so that rounds up to 17 cents per ounce. Okay, and then the last one is Save-A-Lot, and that's $6.60 divided by 40 for a 40-ounce container. So you take $6.60 and you divide that by 40, and you get an answer of 0.615, which comes out to 17 cents per ounce. Okay, now the Best Buy then, because you need to answer it, which brand should he buy? You need to write a sentence. He, oops, that's a terrible H, should buy which one's the cheapest? The 18-ounce. Size. Okay. All right. If it would say why, then you should say because it comes out to 16 cents per ounce and the others come out to a higher amount. Okay. All right, number 4. Number 4 is a way to do this using a tape diagram. So it says Lexi painted 2 faces in 8 minutes at a crafts fair. At this rate, how many faces can she paint in 40 minutes? Okay, so if you can create your tape and this becomes your faces. So how many faces did she paint? 2. Okay. And then it says that she did 2 of them in 8 minutes. So this is 8 minutes. Okay, and you're trying to find out how many can she paint in 40 minutes. So you need to come up with your unit rate. Okay, so if the whole thing is 8 and this is these are also, I'm going to go like this, these are also the faces she paints. Because tape diagrams are so important. This becomes the faces she paints. Okay, so how do I figure that out? I got to do a little bit of math. I got to do 8 divided by 2, right? That's going to give me 4. So that means this is 4 minutes. And this is 4 minutes. Now they want to know how many can she paint if we're going to extend this to 40 minutes, a total of 40 minutes. Okay, that's what we're trying to find out. So you would then take that 40 to do your math. You would take that 40 and you would multiply, or divide, I'm sorry, divide it by 4 because it's 4 minutes per one, and that's going to give you 10 spaces. Okay? Okay, so I think that's about all we got. Okay, so you're going to you should have gotten a worksheet for your practice problems. Take notes, make sure you have this all written in your notebook, and then you're going to have a practice sheet with some problems to bring back tomorrow to go over. And then, because this isn't necessarily in your book. Okay? All right.